Welcome to this week's blog. If you've been reading or watching my recent blogs, you'll know that at Spinning Planet we're developing some new products this year, but we also develop and improve products for a lot of our clients. Recently we had 2 staff leave, so I had the choice of either trying to look for a new staff member, which if you're a business owner, you know that can be a real big hassle and takes ages, and then it takes a long time for them to get up to speed. Or I could outsource the work. Now, if I was hiring a company, you're paying over $100 an hour. They do a good job, but it's quite an expensive process, and it's not really practical for us. So I did some searching online to see what I could find, and I found this company called Hubstaff. And they're a really cool company. They've got this program that you can install on your computer, and I'll show you what it looks like. And it tracks what the staff member's doing, runs on Windows, Linux, and Mac. And what that means is you can go in and you can see what the staff member's doing. The thing that's really good about Hubstaff, though, is they also supply employees. And it's not like one of those big sites where you go and you've got millions of people to choose from. They actually go out and find the right person for your job. And I've been using them recently, and it's been really great. The problem is I've been telling people that I'm now starting to outsource my staff, and they almost think you're the devil. So I thought I'd just give you my perspective of why it's a good business decision, what it might mean for the country as well, and we'll just see what comes up as I go along and tell you about it. So before I show you Hubstaff, I thought I'd just show you the financial perspective of hiring an external staff member. So here we go. Why would I outsource employees? The reasons I chose Hubstaff. So firstly, let's look at the cost of an employee and even what they get at the end of it. So the real cost of staff, the employee, let's say they get paid $20 an hour for a 40-hour week, which equals $800. They've then got to pay the government $124 or so. If they've been a student before, they've got to pay their student loan. If they've signed up to KiwiSaver, they have to pay their KiwiSaver as well. So there's all these extra taxes in there, and I know that KiwiSaver and student loan aren't taxes. They're us personally paying for our education and our retirement, but they are included in the hourly rate that I have to pay an employee. So this is actually what they really get paid, around about $600 a week. And if you break that down to 40 hours a week, it means they're only getting around about $15 an hour, because the other money is tax and their retirement and stuff like that. Now let's look at it from the employer's perspective. So the employer's paying $800 a week. They also have to pay an additional KiwiSaver fee. So that was another tax that the government put on employers because they don't want to pay it themselves. So they put it on all employers, including the small ones like us. But another thing you have to take into account is the employer also has to pay holiday pay, sick leave. I haven't even counted leave such as bereavements and stuff like that. But that comes to around about, and I've calculated this to be $75 a week, because if they're not working in that time, then that's not productive time. So if you add that all up and you divide it by 52, that becomes $75. That calculation could be wrong. You can correct me. That's fine. So the weekly cost to the employer is actually around about $900. So it means that the employer is paying around about $22.50, and the staff member's only getting $15, because the rest of it is tax, their holidays, student loan, all that sort of thing. But you can see there's quite a big difference there. Now, as every business should do, let's look at the profit side of it. So let's say the employee does 20 chargeable hours a week. Now, that's quite good for a software company. If your employee can be doing 20 hours a week, that's actually very good. Of course, if you're a company that owns a fleet of plumbers, the average chargeable time is about 75%. So let's say 30 hours a week. Some service companies struggle to do that, which means their cost is a lot more. So if we look at this, so let's say that employee is doing 20 hours a week at $100 an hour. That means they're generating $2,000 a week. That seems like a lot of money. But let's look at it from the employer's perspective. The cost to the employer is actually $45 a week because the other 20 hours are being used for things like support, surfing the internet, looking at Trade Me. I'm kidding. Well, not really. But that's the actual cost to the employer. The employer also has to pay tax on this income of $2,000, which is $308. So the profit that they've made off that employee is actually only $800. Now remember that the employee gets $800 a week and the business has just made $800, which again is $20 an hour. So out of that $20 an hour, they have to pay themselves rent and everything else. So employees might be interested to see this. If you're making $2,000 a week for the company, you're actually only just covering maybe a bit, another person's wage or something like that. It's quite costly for the employer. And actually $2,000 a week isn't enough really. Again, depends on what business you're in. Now let's have a look at the idea of hiring remote staff. So let's say I was hiring remote staff, or another way of saying this too, they don't have to be overseas. It could just be a local contractor. If they're charging $20 an hour, they do 20 hours a week, and you're charging them out at $100 an hour, there's the $2,000. So the actual cost to the employer is only $400. The other thing you've got to take into account is there's no tax as well. The reason that the cost to the employer is so low because there's no holiday pay in there's no sick leave, there's no down days. They only get paid for chargeable hours. Now let's look at the profit. The profit is now $1,600, which equates to $40 an hour. It's double of what the profit is of having a local employee. Again, I'm not trying to discredit local employees. You've got to have them. I just want you to see the financial logic of what I'm doing. So let's have a look at the benefits to the employer. Less administration cost. If you've had employees before, there's actually quite a bit of work that goes with them. Doing payroll, staff assessments, contracts, finding them work, all that sort of thing. Again, we showed just before, it's more profitable. Here's a really nice thing though. It's instantly scalable. So if a disaster happens to your business, you can instantly either just say to the contractor, hey, I can't hire you anymore. Or if you get lots of work, like what's just happened to us, we've got 25 projects in our queue at the moment, you can instantly ramp up and bring new staff online to start working for you. The nice thing about using this Hubstaff thing I'm talking about too is you've got better monitoring of staff. So we've gone through a number of different things trying to have better staff management like Sugar CRM and all that stuff. But actually all you really want to do is just know what they're working on and that they're working on it. And Hubstaff is awesome at doing that, and I'll show you that soon. You've also got this other added benefit, which is global reach. So as you can see, this whole thing about outsourcing staff is looking a lot more attractive. Yes, New Zealanders could lose jobs from it, but it can actually happen the other way around as well. As an example, one of our largest clients in New York, the last time I was over there, I asked them why they used us, and they said, your skills are just as good, if not better, than anybody here in New York. You're trustworthy, you're reliable, and they said, though it wasn't a defining factor, they said that the exchange rate worked really well for them. And another thing is that when they requested something before they went home, when they arrived back in the morning, it was already completed and ready to go. So there's actually an opportunity here for New Zealanders as well. The government might also want to look at this whole tax thing for small business. As you can see, most of the money, well, not most of the money, a lot of the money is actually going out to the government. When I ran Spinning Planet in the US, the tax was a lot lower, and it's actually just a lot easier to run businesses, small businesses, in different parts of the world. So for New Zealand to be competitive, our tax rate probably has to just be a bit better. That's a whole other subject, and there's more educated people than me that could explain that better. Now let me show you Hubstaff. So here's my Hubstaff app. It's a web page here. It's only showing 3 of us at the moment. We've just had a new guy start in India, but it's not going to start tracking him till Monday, and we've got a new developer starting next week too, so there'll be 5 in there. So here's me and Josh in here. So we're the local staff, and by the end of next week, we'll have 3 external staff in the Ukraine, India, and the US. Now what this does is it monitors all the projects they're working on. So if I go to activity, so this is actually also handy for local staff. If I choose Josh's Josh's activity, actually I know he's been busy today fixing up heaps of stuff for me, so I don't expect to see trade me in there. But I can see here from 8 a.m. to 8:10. Oh no, that can't be right. Oh no, that's right. I can go there and I can look through the screens. Looks like the timing's actually a bit out there. Let me try this one. Yeah, and he's been working on Scissor City. He's going through his emails. He's working on Corral. It's really good. You can see everything they're doing, and it tracks the project as they go through it. So let me just show you what the projects looks like. If I go into our projects here, we can see all of the projects we've got going. So this is the new Indian guy. His first project is actually just learning our system, E107, and then I'll get him working on client projects. These are the upcoming projects. If I go back to my dashboards and click projects here, I can see the activity on the projects that we're working on at the moment. So we've got Flying Doctor in there. There's no activity yet. There's a little bit of time. And you can actually drill down on all of these. Now, if the staff member forgets to run this little program to track their time, I'll just move that screen out of the way, they can actually just manually go in and log their time into timesheets. The other nice thing about this is every morning I get an email from this Hubstaff system, and it gives me a summary of what staff are working on for the day, and I can go in and view the screenshots and stuff and see what they were working on, the previous day. It's just a nice quick summary, and it's a very quick way of assessing how well your staff are doing and how they're going. But the thing that's really sold me on this service is actually this thing over here. Now, I did a lot of research in hiring remote staff and the little tips and tricks you could do, and I don't have a lot of time to waste doing that sort of stuff. The nice thing about this service is you just start a project, you put in your requirements, and you submit it, and they liaise with you and they find the right staff for you. They've been doing this for over 10 years. The guy that started this company has written a really good book that you get for free on how to work with and manage remote staff. So they actually know lots of companies around the world that specifically rent out remote staff. So they go out and they find you a staff member that's best suited for your project. So you're not wasting time trying to vet people. You're paying the right amount for the right person. And what I've found so far is when the right person starts, they ramp up really quickly and they're just productive straight away. So if you've hired local employees before, you know that it can take up to 3 months to get them up to speed to learn your system. What I've found so far is that's not the case. Is basically within a week, the staff member has been up to speed and straight away. Again, I've got to try some more staff members that come through Hubstaff, but my experience so far is that's the case, that they're just good and they'll do the job really quickly and they've got good experience. So that's my experience of Hubstaff. Don't hate me for hiring remote teams, but for me, I see it definitely as a benefit to Spinning Planet and a benefit to our clients as well, because we can work 24 hours a day, we can work on our own projects globally, we've got access to super smart people that are really good at doing stuff. It just seems like the logical and best solution for my company.